Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another review of a live action movie based on a cartoon. And now for my next review, this is going to be a review for Alvin and the Chipmunks. So this movie was released in 2007. And, yeah, this movie really did not really get like a whole lot of love when it did come out. Like, yeah, it really just, yeah, a lot of people just really didn't like this movie. Yeah. So, and prior to like me making these reviews, have never actually like seen any of these movies. So I'm actually like seeing these movies like for the first time as I'm watching them to make these reviews. So this was my first time actually watching this. So I wasn't really too sure like really what to expect from this movie. Yeah, and and like with it like not really getting like that much love, I really was like really thinking that this was probably just going to be another like really terrible movie. I gave this movie a watch, and how did I feel about it? Well, I actually thought that this movie was kind of decent. I mean, it wasn't good. Like, there's still a lot of stuff that really just doesn't really work about it. But I mean, yeah, as far as like an Alvin and the Chipmunks movie goes, like it is like telling like a relatively small story, and overall, I did kind of think that this one was all right. Yeah. So so Alvin and the Chipmunks are really just like they're really just a part of pop culture. Like they were originally created in the 50s, and of course like they originated with the famous Christmas song. So yeah, a lot, I'm sure that just about everybody really does know like the Chipmunk song that is like played during Christmas time. Yeah. So yeah, that's when they originated, and then then it eventually like spawned like the cartoons. Like the original cartoon was known as what was it called? The Alvin Show. Yeah, it like the original show was the Alvin Show that just like ran for like in the early '60s. Yeah, and then it did spawn like like the the real like Alvin and the Chipmunks cartoon from the '80s, and then then it did like a spawn like a feature film, The Chipmunk Adventure, and and then over the years, like there's been like some more like Alvin and the Chipmunks projects that have been made, like yeah, remember like they did like do like a couple of Alvin and the Chipmunks movies in like was it like '99 or 2000? Yeah, they did like a couple of Alvin and the Chipmunks movies like where they were like a crossing over with like a couple of the like famous Universal monsters. Like, yeah, they did one with like the Frankenstein monster and another one with the Wolfman, and they've done like some other Alvin and the Chipmunks shows over the years, including like this new one they've got now. Now, Alvin and the Chipmunks really are just part of pop culture, and they really are characters that are known today. Like, of course, like the three chipmunks: Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. Yeah, along with there's also like their adoptive human father, Dave, and of course, like there's also like in the cartoons, there's like the known girl Chipettes. Is that what they're called? The Chipettes? Yeah. Alvin and the Chipmunks really are part of pop culture, and and I remember like as a kid, I did watch like some stuff Alvin and the Chipmunks, and overall, I did like them. Yeah, So, like I said, going into this movie, I really didn't wasn't really too sure what to expect with it. Yeah, but like I said, I actually did think that like it was. I did think that it was decent. I mean, while I'm not really sure if I would go so far to call it a good movie, like I actually did actually see myself enjoying some stuff from this movie. I actually did like see some effort put into this. So yeah, this movie really is just telling the basically like the origin of Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, and how they actually met Dave and how Dave took them in, and and just all that stuff. So this film's story is that like Dave, like when we see him, he's like a struggling songwriter that just really hasn't had luck with making uh, deals with record studios for the songs that he writes. Yeah, but then he eventually then meets the Chipmunks. He accidentally brings them home, And then yeah, then when he meets them, at first like he's just freaked out by them. But yeah, then when he does like learn that they can sing, then he makes up a deal with them that he'll let them stay with him if they sing the songs that he writes. And so then yeah, that's what happens. And then yeah, then eventually then like uh the record company then like learns that like the Chipmunks are able to sing and they sing good. So then and yeah, then the chief executive of uh, studio then decides to sign the Chipmunks to a deal, and then yeah, then throughout this movie, then like the Chipmunks have become famous with their singing, hinging, and everything. Yeah, yeah. Then eventually, like it just ends up getting to them. Well, yeah, they get like manipulated by executive, and pretty much like they get just pulled away from Dave, and they live with the executive. But then they realize that the executive is really just like wanting to profit from their fame, and yeah, then eventually, then Dave then goes after them and saves them, and then yeah, then they get back together. So yeah, so it is a relatively simple story for this, and yeah, and probably the like the other ones, there probably really isn't like really enough to really make like a live action movie on here. Like the animated movies, like the Chipmunk Adventure, like those really like did work because yeah, a lot of the stuff like did work, and plus, yeah, it just felt like much bigger. Like they did have, like the Chipmunk Adventure did have a bigger story. This is just like seems like really really small, and yeah, and it just seems like kind of like manipulative at times. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, like I said, I did like think that this there was like some effort put into this. I did like occasionally I did like see some like there were like a few funny scenes. Like there was like one point where Alvin is taking a shower in the dishwasher, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah, yeah, and they do. There are like some other funny scenes like that throughout this movie. Yeah. So the CG on the chipmunks in the movies, in this movie, like it's not like particularly good. You can tell that they're really not there, and sometimes like when like Dave or the executive or other people are actually talking to them, you can tell like they're uh they're not really lined up with like where the chipmunks positions really are. Like you can notice, like sometimes they're looking in like too high up when they're supposed to be talking to one of the chipmunks. Yeah, yeah. And as far as the voices go in this movie for the chipmunks, in this movie, the chipmunks are voiced by Justin Long, Matthew Gray Gubler, and Jesse McCartney. So yeah, particularly with Justin Long and Jesse McCartney, I did find them like kind of strange choices to voice the chipmunks. But yeah, they actually do sound pretty good. I mean, they do sound like quite a lot like the original voice actors for Alvin and the Chipmunks. Oh, and a little bit of trivia for you guys. Like, did you guys know that the way that Alvin and the Chipmunks were actually named, like all three of them were actually named after the music executives that the original creator Rasa Bagdasarian worked with. So yeah, so that's like a little bit of interesting trivia for you guys, like how the Chipmunks actually did get their names. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, like I said, like the voices is for like the Chipmunks in this movie are actually pretty good. Like they do sound like quite a lot like they did in the cartoons. Yeah. The actor that plays Dave in this movie, like in this movie, Dave is played by Jason Lee. Yeah, he really doesn't really work a whole lot. Like as I'm like watching him as Dave, I'm just really not seeing the original Dave at all. I just yeah, Dave just seemed like a well, yeah, the like Dave in the cartoons, like he actually really did always show like that he did care for Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like for most of this movie, like it's really just how just he really just seemed like very manipulative. Like he's just like giving the Chipmunks a place to stay, but he's really not like considering himself actually their father. So yeah, so he really doesn't work. And plus, if you know Alvin and the Chipmunks, you know that one of the show's trademarks is like how Dave always does shout Alvin, like Alvin. Like yeah, in this movie, like whenever Dave shouts Alvin in this movie, like it doesn't sound right at all. Like it doesn't really sound anything like how like Dave's Alvin shouts were. So yeah, Dave really just Jason Lee really is not a very good Dave in this movie. So yeah, but yeah, and something else I do find kind of like interesting about this movie is that they really do make the chipmunks down to scale in this movie. Like in the cartoons, like the chipmunks really just did seem like just the size of just like just human boys. But yeah, in this movie, like they actually are down to scale, so they do actually seem like the size of real chipmunks. So I guess that is something that you got to give the movie credit for, that they did at least make it the chipmunks look like realistic sizes. So, so yeah, so like I said, just yeah, there is like a lot of stuff about the movie that probably really doesn't work, such as like Dave's performance and yeah, just some other stuff. However, it just really doesn't really have like much of like the original Alvin and the Chipmunks feel to it, and just how it's a pretty small story and it does feel like kind of like manipulative. Yeah, but yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I honestly did see like some effort put into this. Like I said, I do think that the Chipmunks, for the most part, are good. Yeah, and there is like funny scenes every now and then. And plus, yeah, and I kind of do like some of the homage that they do make to the Chipmunks history. Like in this movie, like they do actually like sing the original Christmas song. So yeah, so I did think that that was like kind of nice that they did that. They did include that song in this movie. So yeah, so while it's not really like good, like it is decent, and I did see effort put into this, and yeah, and I find it really hard to say that this movie really doesn't at least try to make it as make it like somewhat faithful to the cartoon. So yeah, so yeah, I'm sure that's probably not really going to be like what everybody does say about this movie. A lot of people are probably going to say that they don't like it the movie and they think it's awful, which is understandable. But yeah, I did think it was decent. I did see some effort put into this. So I guess I would probably give this movie probably around like a 2.25 stars out of 4. All right. So yeah, so I guess I'll just start talking about the premise of the movie. All right. So as the movie opens up, it shows that Alvin, Simon, and Theodore are like living in a tree, but it gets cut down, and then it's taken to Los Angeles, where the uh, the music company, which is known as Jet Records, buys it as a Christmas tree, and it shows how Dave is just really struggling to come up with songs that the company will sign him sign a deal with him with. Yeah, yeah, and it shows that like the chief executive is like an old college roommate of Dave's. His name is Ian Hawke, and he's played by David Cross. Yeah, yeah, and after like he just ends up rejecting Dave's songs, he just is. He ends up like giving Dave a suggestion that he should just give up writing songs. Yeah, yeah, but then yeah, then after Dave ended up like stealing a basket of muffins for like other employees at the record company, then Alvin, Simon, and Theodore then ended up hopping into the basket and ended up like going home with Dave. Yeah. Then eventually, then once Dave got home, he then discovered the chipmunks, and at first, of course, like he was freaked out by them. Yeah, but after they introduced themselves to him, then Dave ended up just kicking them out of his house. But then after he realized that they were able to sing, then Dave made a deal with them that like if they would sing his songs, then and they could stay with him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess something I'll like just talk about is like the Chipmunks just sing songs like "Only You" and "Funky Town." Yeah, and yeah, and I guess like this has really become like infamous because yeah, just throughout YouTube, like there's like a whole bunch of versions of like a songs that say are sung by the Chipmunks, but they're just like high pitched versions of the song that have just been edited by people. So yeah, you can just like search those like all around YouTube. Just say like sung by Alvin and the Chipmunks, and yeah, just type and yeah, and you'll just find a whole bunch of songs that like have higher pitches and higher voices that like or said that have been sang by the Chipmunks. Yeah. Then anyway, getting back to this, yeah. Yeah, then that night, then Dave then like ended up like writing the Christmas song, and then yeah, then the following morning, then it showed then how the Chipmunks were like singing the song, yeah. And then yeah, then when Dave tried to present the Chipmunks to Ian, it showed that just it ended up like a failing because just the Chipmunks got stage fright, so they just like were standing there not singing, yeah, yeah. Then yeah, then later on that day, then like due to like the Chipmunks like ruining a presentation for Dave's job, Dave ended up being dismissed from his like advertising job. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then it also showed how the Chipmunks ended up like messing up like a date that Dave had with his former girlfriend Claire. Then Dave then really was like trying to tell Claire what was going on, but she just like thought that like he was just like was making it up, and she just ended up leaving. And then just with Dave being so unhappy, the Chipmunks then decided to make it up to Dave, and then they ended up like going over to Ian's mansion, and then they ended up singing the song for Ian, and then after that, then Ian then ended up like signing a record deal with Dave and the Chipmunks, and it showed then over time the Chipmunks really did like become like very successful with their song, Hanya. And it showed also over time how like Ian's really was seeming to be like a better toward the Chipmunks than Dave was, because like when Christmas arrived, it showed how like Ian like did give like some real presents to the Chipmunks, and Dave really just gave them like just like saving his funds. Yeah, yeah, and it showed that like like over time, Dave was really becoming like concerned for their well being, and was just like trying to tell Ian that like the Chipmunks are too young to handle like all the fame that Ian was trying to give them. Then Ian then eventually was then just like manipulated the Chipmunks and was just telling them how Dave was holding them back, heck, and they deserve better. Then it eventually led to the Chipmunks then just deciding to go live with Ian. And then it was revealed how Ian really was just interested in really profiting off the Chipmunk success. Then he just ended up like just uh, uh, sending them off on like a nationwide tour. Then it showed how Ian was just exploiting their naivety by just like overworking them constantly. Yeah. Then when Dave found out like what Ian was doing with the Chipmunks, then like after like finding out that the Chipmunks like had a concert at the Orpheum Theater, then Dave then decided to infiltrate the concert to get them back. Yeah, and it even showed like over like how Dave was really not Dave, Ian was really starting to mistreat the Chipmunks. Yeah, then it showed like how like before the show, like as a vet was like examining the Chipmunks, it showed that like just due to exhaustion, them being worn out, like their voices just were like like uh, really like becoming hoarse, and she was just telling Ian that the Chipmunks have to rest. But yeah, Ian like not wanting to actually issue refunds, he then just told the Chipmunks to just like pull a Milli Vanilli and lip sync. Then when Dave got into the concert with help from Claire, then like the Chipmunks could hear Dave calling out to them during their performance, and so then they just ended up like sabotaging the concert. Yeah, but before they could actually get back with Dave, and Ian then just captured the Chipmunks and just uh, locked them in a cage and was preparing to take them on the world tour that he was planning. Yeah, yeah, but then it showed then like how like as a Ian then was like attempting to escape with them, with Dave like giving chase. It then showed how the like Alvin and Chipmunks had been like they already escaped and they were now in Dave's car and they reunited with Dave, and they showed how like just like they switched themselves out of the cage with just these dolls that Ian like made to try to sell as merchandise. Yeah, then the movie then just ended showing like how like with Dave and Claire like on another day, but it showed that the Chipmunks then were just like messing up some more, and then it just ended with Dave shouting "Alvin," and that's how it ended. Oh, and I guess I should also talk about like as this movie starts like during like the first third or so of the movie, like it just shows like the chipmunks just like looking like normal chipmunks, just naked without any clothes. As wrong as that may sound, yeah. Then it showed over time like Dave giving them like their the clothing that they're known for. Like he gave, of course, like Simon glasses, and then he eventually did make like the famous sweaters for the three of them. Like, he made Alvin a red one with a yellow A on it, a blue one for Simon, and a green one for Theodore. Yeah. So yeah, I did like show like how Dave actually did how they did actually get their clothes, and Simon got his glasses and everything in this movie. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then it showed like how due to Alvin and Simon and Theodore escaping from Ian, it showed like how just like this ended up just costing Ian his career and his money, and it showed how he was like just trying to build up a new group of squirrels, but it didn't work at all. Yeah, so yeah, kind of a funny way to end it like that. Yeah. So yeah, so like I said, like while I can't go so far to say this is good, like I did actually enjoy some of this movie. Like I did think that it was a relatively decent film. Like there were some funny scenes throughout it, and yeah, yeah, and it was nice to kind of see some homages to the old cartoons and even like the original song in this movie. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, the film definitely does have problems. Like Dave's really not very good. And yeah, the movie does feel like kind of manipulative and kind of mean spirited at points, especially like with how Dave is like treating the chipmunks early on until he realizes what Ian's trying to do with them. Yeah, yeah, there are definitely plenty of problems with this movie, and I will definitely understand people not liking the movie. But yeah, I think that there was at least enough in this movie to at least say that it was at least decent to watch. So yeah, so I don't know if I would actually go so far to actually recommend the movie. I would probably say that people would probably be better off sticking to the cartoons. Yeah, but yeah, I did find myself at least liking enough about the movie to at least call it decent. So yeah, so that's really my take on it. So I did like it, at least enjoy some stuff about this movie. So I can't really say that this movie doesn't really have anything to really offer. All right, so yeah, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, like I said, I give it 2.25 stars out of 4. All right. So yeah, so I guess this is all I can really say about it. All right, so this is my review of Alvin and the Chipmunks. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Yeah, and this movie ended up spawning not one, not two, but three sequels. So yeah, so I guess this movie really must have been a success that it was able to spawn three sequels. Yeah, I guess there were it did make a lot of money. He if it did spawn three sequels. So yeah, so I guess you can probably say this is probably the most successful series of live action movies based on cartoons, with it spawning three sequels. All right, but yeah, but I will be talking about the other three movies as well. So yeah, so stay tuned for my reviews of the three sequels coming up. All right, but yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.